feeling like I'm Akademiks.
Did y'all see this? So apparently Baka Not Nice has responded to Kendrick. And you know, Kendrick said, Baka got a weird case. Why is he around? Okay. Now we get to figure out what Baka feels about this. All right. Let me read any donations that came in or whatever, or any. Hold on. Give me a second. I gotta pull the chat up. But yeah, Baka Not Nice, one of Drake's, right-hand guys, have officially responded to Kendrick Lamar. And this is his response, okay?
At first, my first initial thing was to respond and respond quickly.
Yeah.
Very efficiently and very to the point.
Very directly.
Yeah, and but like it was like it started brewing in me because where I come from, like that shit doesn't happen. Like you can't just call out a man and not have paperwork to back up your talks. Like that is ludicrous. And then like to see like a whole nation behind it and celebrating it like it's a true story is unbelievable because everybody has to understand, like I have a kid, Drake has a kid, you know what I mean? So like making accusations like that are like ridiculous and out of this world, you know what I'm saying? So, but like what I was gonna tell you is this, like I was building up a lot of anger and stuff like that, but then I got a call and I don't know why I got this call. It's like God said something to him or something, but the boy, sorry, it might not have been a call, it might have been a text message, but he messaged me and he's like, yo, I know what you're feeling, I know you as an individual, and I know how you get down, but I'm just letting you know, like, don't listen to the noise, because it's noise. And if you go back and look at all these people that are saying things or having anything to say, they're not even actual real people, they're like bots.
Exactly.
So like, don't let that shit bother you, bro.
Facts.
Like, and you know what? Like, I mean, it's not a good thing, but they're calling your name. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, like, they're gonna get over this crap because they're gonna realize that it's crap, and then they're gonna go do their own research. And when you do your own research, you're gonna be like, wow, this guy made up a whole story about something that isn't even true, and it makes you look weird to me. I don't know.
It does.
But I want to say one thing to America, and y'all need to like get yourself together because, making accusations on people, serious accusations like that, you need to have paperwork. That is the rule, like number one rule that everybody goes by. So don't switch up.
All right, I'm gonna be honest, and I think I'm a fair person. Baka, I think this is garbage. I'm glad you spoke on it, but this is not a current case. Fuck this whole weird case. Why is he around? Shit, like what Kendrick was alluding to is not a current situation. It's something old, and I think you could explain it. You could have just literally explained it. Now, I have an understanding what I believe it is, and I'm gonna look it up on stream live. I've never done it before. This is what I kind of understand it to be. It's kind of like pimping, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like in colloquial terms, right? Like he was in Toronto. He was just kind of, or I think it was Toronto, and he was dealing with some women, and he was kind of like being a pimp, right? Now, granted, obviously pimping and pandering, like what they have in Las Vegas, kind of almost like borderlines what some people then could say is sex trafficking, right? All right, we get it. But like, we all know American culture. We know even hip-hop culture. Like Snoop Dogg paraded as a pimp for many fucking years. The pimp, the idea of pimping isn't really seen as a negative thing. So if it's pimping he got locked up for, I'm going to be honest with you, like that's how I would explain it if that's what it is. Now, I don't know fully. So I'm going to actually just Google it right now and I'm going to try to figure it out. But that's kind of how it's always been explained to me, right? Like it was kind of this element of, a woman or women who were kind of like escorts and he had some power or control over them, but nothing like, he was like forcing himself on them, like not to my knowledge, right? That's all I've ever known. Like it was kind of like pimping / like supplying these women to men, right? That's what I kind of know. Let's look it up now. Like somebody's got to have the paperwork. Let's figure it out. Baka Not Nice Case. We'll just look it up on YouTube. Somebody says the truth. No. We want a qualitative, like, understanding. By the way, there is like a long form part of this interview. I don't know if this was the majority. It looked like this was the only place that he responded to that portion of it. But he did do an interview. I think I see the interview here is 16 minutes. How can we find? Okay, shit, I did a video on it before. Okay, so Baka spent 13 years in jail, and then he spent 6 months in jail. I did a video on it. Let's go back to my video, right?
That's what DJ Akademiks said. I might declare it a holiday when Baka get back on the road. But you know how that should go? Yes, we do know how that should go. Okay, Champagne Poppy, today we found out. Now, if you guys don't know, there's a member of Drake's entourage, the whole OVO family, that goes by the name of Baka. He was actually sentenced to 6 months in jail. But here's the thing. He's not going to go to jail. The reason he's not going to go to jail, Drake is the real six god. Now, I'm playing around. That's a joke. But the reason he won't go to jail is because he's already credited for serving 11 months in jail. Now, you're probably wondering, who the fuck cares?
Okay. So we're going to find this article because this article says Drake's human trafficking buddy. Okay? All right. Last year, Travis Savory was charged with 6 crimes in connection with the human trafficking of a 22-year-old woman. I'm going to cut my own video. By the way, old act, GOAT, right? Travis Savory, 22-year-old woman. I just want to read what, see if I can figure out what the allegations are. Complex has an article about it. Hopefully they kept it fair. It said, what is Baka Not Nice's weird case that Kendrick Lamar references on Not Like Us? So it says Kendrick alludes to Drake's associate Baka Not Nice unsavory past on his #1 song on the Hot 100 disc called Not Like Us. But what exactly is the weird case he's bringing up? On K-Dot's Thunderous Not Like Us makes some serious allegations against Drake and the OVO Sound roster. Among them is that Travis Savory, a rapper and former security guard, otherwise known as Baka Not Nice, he says, say Drake, I hear him like him young. You better never go to Cell Block 1. To any bitch that like him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him. They tell me Chubbs, he's the only one that get the hand-me-downs. And party, he had the party play with his nose now. Baka, he got a weird case. Why he around? Certified lover boy, certified PDFs. Okay, who is Baka? Let's figure this out. And by the way, I'm hoping, Complex, I hope y'all didn't snake, again, I'm using this for historical perspective. I could look up all these things myself, but I hope you don't have an angle and you're keeping it fair. Baka Not Nice is a Toronto-based rapper and a longtime friend of Drake. He previously had a career as a security guard, but he's since been signed to OVO Sound. Okay? What's his connection to Drake? He's been serving as Drake's bodyguard before making several contributions to the Toronto rapper's music. He made his first appearance on one of Drake's songs in 2013. Nothing Was the Same. And, which song was he on? He followed up with appearance on More Life and Scorpion. He signed to OVO Sound in 2017. He dropped 2 solo releases through the label 4 Milli in 2018 and No Long Talk in 2019. What was he charged with? What's the weird case that Kendrick's been talking about? In 2014, Baka was arrested for allegedly forcing a 22-year-old woman into prostitution. The following year, per the Toronto Sun, he pled guilty to assaulting the woman and failing to comply with conditions to the unrelated firearm charges. The procuring for prostitution and human trafficking charges against him were dropped because the woman refused to testify. So how did he spend 13 years in jail? According to authorities, the victim got in an argument with Baka when she found him passed out drunk as food burned in the oven. She told him off for falling asleep with food cooking, and he allegedly pushed her to the floor. The woman allegedly worked as an escort and was reportedly in a relationship with him at the time of the incident. Did he serve time in prison? Let's listen to that or read that. He was sentenced to 6 months in prison following his guilty plea, but he avoided the time because he was behind bars because he spent 10 months in custody following his 2014 arrest. Upon his 2015 release, Drake celebrated the news in a since then deleted post. Says something in the air today. A lot of good things happening at once. But this one means the most. Been waiting for 11 months. Baka finally home. Also on his Know Yourself track, Drake famously raps, I might declare the holiday as soon as Baka get on the road. Huh. I feel like this is still unclear. What did he serve 13 years in jail for? Baka, not nice, 13 years in jail. That's what we want to know. Here we go.
I went back to prison like 3 more times. Drake embraced me, and Drake was the love child of the city. Why are you with this guy? I hear what you guys are saying, but I know who he really is.
Yeah,
and I know he's not doing all these things that you guys are talking about. The white lady, Lynn, she turned me into a rock star while I was in prison.
In what sense?
She came to visit me one day, and she's like, is there anything I can do? She knows I was innocent. So I was like, yo, Mom, I need weed. Next week, my mom brought me a fucking ½ ounce of weed. And when she came back, I gave her the money. And she was like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah. Both of our heads was like, ching-ching. Yeah. She's like, you can make a lot of money, Mom. Yeah.
Okay.
I was out for 30 days, and then I got charged with attempted murder. Drake embraced me, and Drake...
Okay. So this is a story about getting 13 years in jail, because we want to figure out, did he do 13 years in jail for human trafficking?
Because I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned. You know, we have a lot of young men that listen to this podcast, you know, and I think that there could be a lot of value there. So
By the way, shout out to Money Buys Happiness. Y'all do an amazing podcast. I know y'all are Canadians. I fuck with y'all heavy. I've seen a bunch of your other podcasts too. First, I saw you guys with Kyle. Salute to y'all.
Talk to us about that experience, how it came to be, what it was like the whole thing. We kind of want the whole run through.
So basically, like when I was 18, so it's crazy. So at one point I went on a rampage with my little buddies in the streets. We were just like doing a whole bunch of robberies, armed robberies, just going crazy as kids, you know. And anyways, long story short, I ended up getting caught.
Okay.
And I ended up taking the charge.
Okay.
Like they didn't have anything on any of my other friends. They wanted me to roll over on them, but I was like, yo, it was me. And then I made up names, and the names that I made up were like cars. I was like, yeah, my friend Audi, and I just said Corvette. I said vet or some Corvette or some
whatever
shit.
came to your mind.
You know what I mean? And I just threw them off. So long story short, all my friends got off, and I ended up going to the penitentiary as a teenager.
And how old were you when you went in?
I was 18.
18.
Wow.
And I'm going into a place where like it's just criminal,
grimy.
Yeah. And at that time, it wasn't like now, man. It's like, yo, you respected your elders at that time.
True, different world.
And guys that were doing things at that time, you really respected them. So it wasn't about trying to be a tough guy all the time, because that didn't work back then, because you would get checked.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? On some
Facts.
real, like, there's no Hollywood shit going on. You're getting checked, bro.
Yeah.
So I had to learn quick.
So you got you did 13
No,
years.
I got 2 years, 7 months.
Okay.
For those armed robberies.
Okay.
Got out. I was out for 30 days, and then I got charged with attempted murder.
Okay, that's where everything changed.
Convicted me for a crime I did not do. My friend did.
You know what's so interesting about like all this shit? I swore that he was doing 13 years because of this supposed weird case. In hip hop, it's so like normalized murder, robberies. Let's be honest. That should be a weird case too, but not in hip hop. A little body, a homicide, attempted robbery, attempted shooting. Who gives a fuck? So when Kendrick's saying Baka got a weird case, I've always heard he did 13 years in jail. I used to think he did 13 years for something with a woman. Not necessarily, he did a robbery and he got an attempted murder and that's why he did 13 years. So we haven't even got to the whole thing about the weird case, but we're going to get to it. So, okay, the 13 years got nothing to do with it. Okay.
Did it, but I didn't rat on him again. And I got 13 and a half years.
Wow.
So that's where all the street cred and all that stuff, because everybody from my city, my hood knew that I actually went to prison for something I didn't do.
Yeah.
So, there's a respect for that. There's a respect.
Yeah.
I don't know about now because it's getting so weird.
It's different, yeah.
But like,
But in terms of like, okay, 2 years, 7 months is one thing.
Yeah.
But when you get convicted for 13 years,
Yeah, you feel like your life is over.
what? Yeah, I want walk us through what, like that feeling,
That moment too that you even
like
found
that
out.
you
maybe.
that you find that out. Like,
Listen, I was in court. I was in court, and my dad was in court, and I put this in my song one of my songs that I have. I don't know. Did I release a song? Give Me That Work. If you guys listen to Give Me That Work, there's a section where I'm talking about where were you when I got the 13 years? Where were you when I was down below? You know, basically saying, yo, you guys didn't see my dad when he was in the courtroom when the judge said 13 years, 9 months or some shit. Yeah. So it was just a trying time when the judge said that. It didn't hit me. I'll be real with you until I got back to the prison, because, you know, they do that. They give you your time and then they handcuff you. They bring you back downstairs in the bullpen, and then you get shipped back to the detention center where you're doing your time until, you know. So it didn't hit me until I got in my cell that night, because I'm around people, so your energy's still high.
You think everything's okay.
Okay, so we kind of get a picture of what he's saying. He did 13 years. Robberies and an attempted murder. Now, granted, chat, we're not doing paperwork pull-up today. Also, I haven't really done a lot of paperwork pull-ups on Toronto stuff. It's a little bit different than, obviously, the U.S. court systems, but, you know, probably same principle. Let's see if he talks about this you know, weird case.
Movies, all this shit, they get the charge. The guy, you know, he has all these
past that can be very
like you came in, you're getting knocked out.
So
I'm just on that mentality that, yo, call him, and when he gets here, I'm just gonna kick.
Okay, here we go.
You know,
wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the pressure that they put on him,
was
a lot. So for him to just
here we go,
like 3 more times, not because I did anything, just because they hated me.
Yeah, you're on a list now.
Yeah, and make it worse, Drake embraced me, and Drake was the love child of the city.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Why are you with this guy? You know what this guy does? You know.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the pressure that they put on him was a lot. So for him to just steadfast and to be like, yo, that's my friend. I hear what you guys are saying, but I know who he really is.
Yeah.
I know he's not doing all these things that you guys are talking about.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
And when you're in there though, like, how are you staying up to date with what's going on, like, outside?
What's going on is Snoop, and I'm here to announce that.
Okay.
And there's no other way for me to say it, brother.
And like, in what sense?
She like.
I'm trying to figure out the part.
I didn't do.
Yes.
It was the hardest thing.
Oh, here we go.
But hold on. All jokes aside, guys. Like I said, I got 13 and a half years for something I didn't do.
Yes.
Oh,
it was the hardest thing. So, like I told you, my mom realized that I was going downhill, depression and shit. And I need to tell you guys this. If I didn't, because I'm not glorifying it, you know? Because it sounds sick, it sounds hype, you know, all that shit. I'm still not going to glorify it, right?
Okay.
But I had to do that to keep my sanity.
Yeah.
If I had to, like, it was a job.
Yeah.
It's something I had to wake up and keep, I had to make sure everything was in order every day.
It gave you a schedule.
It
like,
gave me a
shit to
schedule.
do.
I have in mind. I got 13 years. It doesn't mean that I did 13 years.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I was innocent. So, like, I would say, like, in year 7 or 8, the appeals contacted us and told me that I won my appeal.
Oh, shit.
So I had to go back to the detention center. My lawyer came and saw me. He says, I have good news, I have bad news. I'm like, okay, what is it? And this is December, like, 16th.
Okay.
Right before Christmas. It's fucking cold outside.
Yeah.
I'm back in the bucket with fucking minors. I'm a grown man now. I'm hardened. I'm living in penitentiary lifestyle, running an operation, going and moving anywhere I want in that facility, because that's the difference between a penitentiary and a detention center. A detention center, you are escorted everywhere throughout that building with guards.
Okay.
You are never walking alone by yourself.
Yeah.
You are treated like an animal.
Wow.
Period.
Okay.
Okay? In the penitentiary, it might sound crazy to say, but you're treated like a man.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
If I have a fucking dentist appointment, they send me a fucking it's a slip. We call it a slip. Every morning when you get up, like every range when you get up, you wake up, you go into the mess hall, the kitchen, and there's a board and all the slips. There's like little tags. Everybody's name's on it. Where if you have an appointment, that's where your shit is. So everybody wakes up in the morning and always goes over there to see if they have an appointment.
What's going on? Yeah.
So if you have a slip, you go to your appointment. I kind of forgot what I was trying to say to you guys first.
No. So we're saying like, so you then the appeals comes, and then you go from
I'm
the
trying to hear about his weird case. That's not what he's talking about then.
penitentiary.
Difference between the penitentiary and
Yeah, 13. Yeah.
amazing. You'll get time served and go home today. The bad news is it'll probably take me another year to get you another trial, and you're gonna have to go through a whole new trial. And we don't know how these people are gonna, deal treat you. We
with
don't
you,
know what
yeah.
the jury's gonna. You cannot,
you
a
never
jury's
know.
a jury. You go home.
Yeah, fuck that.
I didn't plead guilty to attempted murder because they know I didn't do it. I pled guilty to discharge of a firearm. Just discharge of a firearm in the air.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the actual incident.
Okay.
Okay.
And I got time served and released.
Yeah.
So then after 7 years?
7, 8. Like
7,
8 years.
8 years
yeah.
you were out.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then I guess knowing that now while you're in the bin and you're saying, okay, I'm about to get out. What are you thinking now? What are you thinking about when you get out?
What the fuck am I gonna do?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What the
Did
fuck
you
am I
did you
gonna
think
do?
about that at all while you were in it?
I did. My brother ended up in jail with me too, and
I don't think he ever talks about this idea of him being a human trafficker.
I went back to prison like.
Let's Google that. Baka. Because I always thought that's why Drake got the backlash. Oh, he did no jumper? Oh.
So you get out, and then how do you end up meeting Drake? Like, how long did it take until you get out? This ends up happening, and you sort of start moving in a different direction.
Pretty quick because when I went to prison, I went to prison with the guys in my era.
Right.
I grew up with, and that I can trust, figure out things. I even tried to do the label thing, like I was telling you about.
That skill sort of on deck, but then meanwhile you're just not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right after Kendrick Lamar's pop, but I think that we kind of get where he's getting at.
By the way, Drake, he showed up to WWE with Baka. Like, I don't know if y'all seen that. This is Baka to the left, and this is Drake right here. And that's Yachty. Yeah, Drake clearly still fucking with him. Now, if you ask me, I'm not gonna blame Kendrick totally for this narrative, because there has been a fucked up narrative about Baka saying he's a human trafficker. And until today, I didn't know he was never convicted of human trafficking. We only know that he was accused of human trafficking. So I'm today years old realizing he was never convicted. But I can't blame this on Kendrick. Just because this narrative kind of existed before, and I think Kendrick probably just piggyback on it. Like, yeah, they made it worse, of course, but was he the one who started it? No. Let me see. Let's see.
First initial.
Okay. Anyway, yo, the point is this, man. Baka, I think you did a horrible job of explaining this yourself. If I think I'm right with this, all you got to say, bro, yo, people think I did 13 years for touching a woman inappropriately. That's not the truth. I did 13 years for robberies and a attempted murder. In hip hop, people love that. Like, trust me, nobody's ever going to be like, oh, I can't fuck with you. You did a murder. They're going to love you more. Then you just got to be honest about the situation. Hey, listen, there's this woman that I was dating at the time. Yeah, I was trying to get into my pimp shit. She reported me. Or I don't even know if he has to admit that, because she's not pressing charges. So really, I have no idea how much merit this whole Baka got a weird case, why is he around. But we've established that because that's just Kendrick's thing. Like, Kendrick made up a narrative and he's going to stick to the narrative. You know, you could show all the proof in the world. It's not like he's going to come back around and be like, nah, you know what I think? Like, he doesn't have a weird case. He just has a fucked up. No, he's never gonna change his mind. Like, you know, so I'm wondering why the hell Baka is even entertaining half of this shit, given the fact that he's not gonna say nothing to make it better. All right. All right, people. Let me see what else is popping.